Welcome to this Microsoft 365 and Teams update dated 19th of June 2020. Now this is going to be a mega update. I don't know about you, but the last 3 months with the whole coronavirus thing have been mental, and honestly I've just been working flat out like a crazy man. Kind of picked my head up and so much has changed. Okay, so I'm going to start with the stuff that happened today and go back in time. So you can watch the video now, you can listen to the podcast now, look at the presentation, do whatever, and then when you get to the point where you're caught up, then you can just have that time back and stop the video. But we're going to start and then work backwards. What else to say to you? So I know that a lot of people just turn Microsoft Teams on and the whole world is using Teams, and I get it. It's absolutely is the right thing to do. But those of you who think that you're done, you're not. Okay, you just started. That is not adoption. Okay, like, if you give me a tennis ball and a racket, I could probably hit the ball in your general direction, but I am not a tennis player. So right now, you've got your staff working. They can get by. They can make their calls. They can do stuff. But at the moment, you've given them something else to use. Okay, you've just added to their workload. So at the moment, this is what you have. We've got Teams in the middle. You got all this sort of stuff around it, and everyone's having to do everything. When you do adoption properly and you do your training properly, all that stuff comes into Teams, and then Teams is where you go to work instead of it just being another thing. Now, a good example of this is a contract that myself and the Inform team did. So they put me into the government department, UK government department of several thousand people. I can't tell you who they are because we've not had the okay to talk about their contract, but we spent 2 years doing Teams training, Office training, Planner, OneNote, just everything about how Teams can be the place that you go to work. And then coronavirus came along and they said to their thousands of staff, go home. And they went home, they opened their laptops, they connected to their Wi-Fi, and they got on with it. Okay, they were good to go. They were ready. Now we're not talking about fumbling your way through a meeting or just having this extra thing to do. They'd open Teams, and the whole working day is there. Say you're working on the XYZ project, that person who works on the XYZ project, open Teams, go to that project, go to their channel, whole working day across the top. And anyone who joins their team, they go in, they join the team, go to that channel, whole working day across the top, and it worked beautifully. That is where you guys should be. Now, I personally, I cannot get you there. I can keep you up to date with what's happening. I can teach you how certain features work, but you need a team to help you with adoption. And that is where I would recommend you use the Inform team. Okay, so with that government department, it was a masterclass in adoption. Okay, they are superstars at doing that. So check out my website and my feed, my Twitter for keeping up to date. But if you want to know how to do adoption, how to make sure that Teams isn't just one more thing that you do, how it becomes the place you go to work, and for the whole of Microsoft 365, the way it all loops in together, then look at the notes for the video. The Inform team is where you need to go for that. So let's finish up that little bit of a rant about people thinking they've adopted Teams, because with all due respect, you haven't. You just chucked it out, and I get it. You had to do that. But you're just starting now, and you need to understand that it's not fair on your staff. Just rolling that software out, it's not fair on your staff. You need to go to the next part, and we're going from just making it work, knowing which buttons to click, to exploitation. That's where you're going next. Where were we? Okay, let's get into this update for Microsoft 365 and Teams. Okay, so our first one, Microsoft Teams meeting setting, requiring all meeting participants to use the lobby. Okay, so look at this setting here. When you set up a meeting, you can go into the meeting settings and you can say that I am the only person who's allowed to bypass the lobby. Okay, so super useful. Be careful though. Make sure that you are on time to your own meeting, because people can't start without you if you do that setting. Here's a nice thing. This came in a while ago. Announce when callers leave or join. Turn that off. That was terrible. Okay, so nice features there. So on the roadmap, that's ID 64343. If you want to go and have another look at that, or look in the notes, and I'll make sure I include this link for you. Okay, so this is one to look out for. I've gone a little bit early on this. It was meant to be out in May. It's been delayed to July. As you know, Microsoft have been a bit busy. And this will mean that you can share a document and allow people to open it in review mode only. This stops people accidentally messing up your stuff. So it's a nice option to prevent those sort of changes. So they can still leave their track changes in the documents or add their comments, but it just stops people accidentally changing your document. So as I say, I've gone a bit early on this one, but again, I'll make sure that I put a link in the notes for you so you can have a look at that when you want to. Okay, this is a nice one. So I don't know about you, but I often use office.com as my starting place, especially when I'm a guest in someone else's tenant. So I've got a whole load of tenants that I have to have access to or have had access to. And a good starting place is office365.com because you get nice and quickly into Teams, into your Outlook, into OneDrive. It's just like your good old starting place for going into Office 365. This is the screen that you're used to, and this is getting updated. Oh, look at that, that's lovely. Look at all the apps down the left hand side. It's just a nicer way of starting off. Again, look out for a link to that inside the notes for the video or the podcast, but that's a nice addition. Okay, just very quickly on this one, making it easier for people to focus on what's relevant in Teams by removing some system messages. So what we're talking about, this should be rolling out kind of anytime now to over the next 4 weeks or so. So who's been added or removed from a team will no longer be posted in the channel pane. Okay, so the ins and outs of how that's going to look, I've got to be honest, I don't really know. So hopefully I've interpreted it right. That's a nice one to look out for. Noise suppression in stream videos. So if you've ever struggled to listen to a video, and whether this is because it's a poor video or you got some issues with your hearing and you struggle just a little bit with what's being said, filtering out the noise, then you've got the option to turn on noise suppression. Okay, it's just something for you to think about, and you can have that noise suppression. There's a bit more detail on this one, so look in the notes area of the video of the podcast. I'll put a full link to the documentation for that one, but that's a great addition to stream videos. Okay, this one is for Teams meetings. So it used to be 250, now it's up to 300. I think this is going to be a permanent change. I don't think this is just the coronavirus phase temporary change. It looks like it's going to be permanent. If it's not, I'll update you. But yeah, up to 300 people. Check out the notes. It's going to be roadmap ID 64225, and I'll make sure I link to that for you. Okay, back over to Outlook now, and we're looking at adding polls to your emails. So you can build these in. You don't have to put any. You don't have to install add-ins anymore. They are deprecating some support for add-ins. I'll make sure that I link to that article because there's a bit more to this. But built-in polls without you having to find and install add-ins. They are deprecating some things though, so make sure you check the notes and you follow the link and you see the full article. This is a quickie. Office 365 groups are becoming Microsoft 365 groups. They're the same thing. Okay, just totally the same. It's just a name change, and you'll see this change in identity, the graph, admin center, exchange, SharePoint, Yammer, Teams, security center, compliance center, the Power BI Admin Center, Microsoft Stream, Outlook, Planner, Project, but it's just a name. Again, I'm going to post to the blog if that affects you, and you need to have a read up of that. Now we're going into Stream and looking at the ability for Stream to record your screen, or a window, or mic, system audio, and a webcam. Okay, so you don't need to download any new software. You can use the latest version of Edge or Chrome. Go to Stream, click on Create, record screen, and then you can get started from there. This one has got a lot more detail to it, so check out the notes for the full link. Okay, you know when that virus hit, one of the things that Microsoft had to do was just toggle back a little bit what you could do in Teams. And one of those things was editing OneNote. So this update, it just brings back the ability to edit your notebook inside Teams. So just a small tweak, but something's just going back to how it was. Okay, this is a killer feature. So contextual search inside Teams. Okay, so you know at the moment, if you do a search, you got to go to the control bar at the top, put your search term in, press enter, go to the results, filter the results by chat or by conversation or by file, and then you have to drill down to the team and you drill down to the channel, and eventually you can do your search properly. Okay, it's going to be the other way around now. Get to the location where you think the content is. So you're going to be, for example, in your team and in your channel. You then press Ctrl and F, and then it adds at the beginning of your search term the location. Then you put your term in, and then or your phrase, and then it searches just that location. Okay, so real nice feature. So again, check out the notes. It's roadmap ID 64017. Basically, just wait for that to come. It's Control and F or Command and F if you're an Apple user, and it will just search from your location. Real nice. I cannot wait for that to come in. Now, this one might seem a bit odd for me to include this. So this is the SharePoint migration tool, allowing users to migrate content, say from a drive, to Microsoft Teams. Okay, you might look at that and think, why am I including that for the audience of my stuff? So my audience is normally end users, trainers, those sort of people. But I have just had to update a course for a client where they were going to share this course with end users for their super users actually to do this for people in their team. So people are going to have to download the SharePoint migration tool and do this themselves. So actually this is worth including because people are doing it, but the ability to push it to Teams, and really guys, it's just pushing it to SharePoint, isn't it? Because behind the scenes, your files in Teams are just in SharePoint, but for regular users, that's probably just a nicer way of doing that. Okay, this one is Microsoft Teams and the meeting experience. So some changes here. You know that control bar, you're in a meeting and maybe someone's presenting something to you, you touch your mouse, you dare to go near your mouse, and that control bar pops up and it's kind of stuck there and you wait for it to go. Do you click? Do you leave it? How do you get rid of that bar? Okay, so you got some options. It's going to be going to the top right hand corner. Those of you who are watching the video, you can see that control bar has now gone up to the top and it's pinned up there. That's beautiful. So there's a timeline for this. From June onwards, you can go to your settings and you can say you want to turn on the new meeting and calling experience. You need to restart Teams. So anytime now, you can go and turn that on yourself. From July, it'll be enabled by default, but you can go in and disable it. And then from August, that's what you're going to get. So you know what? You might as well go and turn it on now and get used to it, because from August onwards, that's how it's going to look. Go back once more, give you one more look. For me, that's a great change. As a trainer, and people saying, Mark, I can't see that thing, because they wiggled their mouse and the bar appeared. I love that. Cannot wait to see that. Okay, background effects in Teams. So you can choose your own background. So this is roadmap ID 62890. So we're talking about on that control bar, you click on the three little dots in the middle, and then you show your background effects. You go into there. For those of you watching the video, you'll see that I took a screenshot. My daughter came in while I did that, and she's like, "Daddy, why did you look so cross on that video?" That's not my cross face. That's me concentrating. Okay, that's my concentrating face, not my cross face. Anyway, over on the right hand side, you see that you can choose blur. So blur's been around for a while. You can choose an image, but what's a little bit newer is at the top is the ability to add new. Now you've always been able to go and find the location of your backgrounds, but now they've made it a bit easier. Click add new, and then you can upload it and you can choose your own backgrounds. Maybe next time you go back to work, where your desk is, take a photograph behind your desk, so then you can put that behind you, so wherever you are, it looks like you're in the office. Bit sneaky maybe, I don't know, but just something to consider. You can't see it on there now, but I worked with a client who got their marketing team to do a load of really beautiful, lovely photographs of locations in their buildings, and they superimposed their logo and their name in the background like it's a poster. So it's got it on there, but it just looks a little bit more natural. They looked awesome. So it's something for you guys to consider. Okay, so new experience for launching instant channel meetings. Okay, so those of you who are using Teams, you'll know that when you go into a team, go into a channel, along the bottom there's a little video icon, and you can just fire up a meeting with your channel. They've now moved that to the top right hand corner. It's still got the same video icon, but it says Meet. So look out for that. If you've got an update on that, it's roadmap ID 62904. Get in there and have a look at that. Just a small tweak, because it was a little bit crowded at the bottom, wasn't it? Underneath where you create a new message, there's quite a bit of stuff down there, but they've just tidied that up a little bit. Another minor improvement is when you click a link to go to a team. You know, it was a bit messy the way it asked you what you wanted to do at the top, or asking you where you want to download Teams. They've just tidied that up a little bit. It says, how do you want to join your Teams meetings? So do you want to download the Windows app, continue in the browser, or open your Teams app? Okay, so you get a little bit more control about that. Just another one of those little tiny tweaks that Microsoft keep doing, but that's a nice touch. So look out for that. Okay, your private chats are bumping up from 100 people to 250 people in that chat. Now, in my head, I've got to tell you, that's a busy chat. I'm sure there's a good use case for it, but I personally, I've never seen a chat that was even pushing the 100 limit, but I'm sure you guys have got examples of it. Remember though, some of those old rules still apply. If you exceed 20 in a chat, you then lose some of the other features like the auto replies, status messages, the typing indicator, that sort of stuff. The stuff that keeps Microsoft busy behind the scenes and takes up some resources to keep that stuff up to date. You cross 20 and you lose that. And also the maximum limit for sharing the file attachments, just keep an eye on that as well. So up to 250, but you got some of the old limits just that hold that back as well. Okay, this looks awesome. PowerPoint live presentation. So this is coming out soon, and it means that, say that you're doing a presentation, big audience. It means that your audience, if they want to, they can follow along, say on their own devices, and it even does a live transcript in 60 languages. So picture that. You go somewhere and you got a real mixed audience, then they can be watching it on their device in their own language. I think that is beautiful. Now, I can't do this justice on this video or this podcast or in this presentation, and I've got a couple of screenshots up there just to fill the white space, if I'm honest, but also just to show you where the buttons are going to be for starting it. But I'm going to include the link. It's a really nice article for Microsoft on this. Definitely worth you looking at the podcast notes or looking in the video notes, because that is going to be killer. Definitely check that out. Even if you don't use it straight away, definitely worth you having a look. Okay, another biggie. Planner app in Teams is going to be renamed with an updated experience powered by Planner and To Do. So think about the stuff that you've got to do in Planner, the stuff that you got in To Do, the stuff that you've got in Outlook, all those tasks that have got your name on. They can come into a new app inside Teams, and it brings them all together. Okay, so it's going to be in Teams on the left hand side, a new app called Tasks. That's going to be where all your stuff is, wherever that stuff lives. Okay, from a task point of view, I think that is awesome. And when I've talked about that on training, when I'm telling people what to look forward to, people get excited about that. I think that's definitely worth you spending a minute looking at the notes, following the link, and getting yourself up to speed with it. Okay, so a minor but important change to Microsoft Forms. So when you shared to collaborate before, so you got a form, you're working on it, and you shared it out. You shared a link. That was a little bit loose, a little bit open. Now you can be much more specific about who you're going to collaborate with. Okay, so when that drops into Forms, it's going to make it just a little bit more specific about who you're working with. I've actually been asked about that when I've been doing Forms training before this was coming along, and they wanted it to be more secure, so they've got what they wanted now. So that's something to look forward to. Okay, so roadmap ID 62858. Click in the link, and there's quite a few notes there. I've put it up for you to read, but I know that's a lot to read on the screen. and that's not very helpful for you podcast folk either. So look at the notes, have a look at that. Definitely worth you checking that out. Okay, so for those of you who are organising and running your meetings in Teams, you might notice this new button in the top right hand corner. For you podcast folk, I'm talking about a little tick and an X. Okay, this just lets you manage who the presenters are and gives you a bit more control over your meeting. So next time you're hosting, then click that button, the little tick or check, sorry, for the international listeners. So we're talking about the tick or the check and the little X. So yeah, just a bit more control. It's just a smallish feature, but I'm going to make sure that, I link to it, but it's just a nice little bit of extra control over your meeting. Also, the ability to download a participant report for your meetings. Okay, so we're talking about the join and the leave times for participants. So for example, did people come to your training and did they stay for the whole training? Okay, features disabled by default, so you need to get your admin to turn that on for you. Feature ID 63351, nice feature, especially if you need to record attendance. Okay, so live events. So, got to be honest, right? So I've not been involved that much in live events, so I've covered it, but it's actually running them just hasn't been on my to-do list. But here's a new feature that's coming in, and it's the sharing the system audio live events. So you know that's been in for a while, in for a long time in Teams. That it wasn't there initially, but then they brought it in. And for those of you who are Skype users, you know that's the world of pain getting getting the audio to go across Skype. You often have to get a video in, embed it inside a PowerPoint or whatever workaround you did. Lovely in Teams, and now it's come to live events as well. Okay, so screen sharing from a chat. This one really, I'm straying now into the role of the admins and what they allow and don't allow. But you should be able, as an end user, to share your screen from a chat. Okay, I'm just letting you know that functionality is available. And if you haven't got it, then you need to go and have a word with your admin and ask them why and get them to turn it on unless they've got a good reason to leave that off. So for those of you who are watching the video, you can see that in the top right hand corner where it should be. That's what you need to be telling your admins to turn on. For the podcast listeners, check out the feature ID 63193 in the roadmap. Okay, next up, lovely feature in Microsoft Teams, and we're talking about tags. So you can @mention a person in a conversation, @mention the channel, @mention another channel, or @mention the whole team. Now, what if you want to @mention just the people in a certain office, or just the people with a certain skill set? So you don't have a channel for these people, but maybe you got people in a certain office and you want to just speak to those people. So what you can do is go into, this is assuming that you're an owner of a team. You know the owner of the team can make this available to everybody, but by default it's the owners only who can do this. But you can manage tags. So you go into the ellipsis for the team, click manage tags, and I can say, for example, cashiers. And then all the cashiers, I can add the cashiers to that. And then in any channel, I can do the curly out sign, and all the people I've added to that tag get the alert. Okay, maybe. So I've just been working with a global client, and they've got departments that span multiple countries. Okay, but maybe they want to talk to people just in one country, so they can put the country name in, they can add the people, and then when they do the curly out sign, type that country, the people in that office get alerted. Of course, everyone else can come and read it if they want to because it's in the team, but those people get the alerts. Another example that someone came up with, so this is another area, and they were talking about their social channel. So in their team, they've got a social channel, and one of the things that someone does each day is they go and do the coffee run. Okay, in the old days, maybe before, when we could actually go to the office, they'd do the coffee run, and I'm guessing they'll go back to doing that. But what they were talking about was they're going to do the curly out sign, say, guys, it's time for the coffee run. Who wants a coffee? And they're going to use it in their social channel for that. So tags, look out for tags. Lovely feature. So you should have that now anyway. But it's a great it's a great addition. Okay, so those of you who run a lot of meetings, you do your presentations or your training, whatever you do, this is a nice one for you. On the control bar, people can put their hand up. Okay, so you'll see that alert. If you click on the people icon on the control bar. Then you'll see a list of people with their hands up, and you can go to that person. It's just a really lovely way for people to politely let you know that they've got a question. So you should be using that now. You should all have it. Really nice feature. Okay, so we're now talking about bringing Yammer in. So you know that you could bring Yammer into a team in the past. So you go to Yammer, go to your group, copy the URL, come back to Teams, go to your channel, add a tab, add a website tab, put the Yammer thing, and it's fine. And you could do connectors as well. You could pull stuff in automatically. That worked nice too. Now there's a nicer way of doing this. So we've got a new-ish app called Communities. Okay, and then you can have that on the left hand side. You have that hooked up, and you can then hook that up with Yammer. So in short, it's Yammer, but it's in Teams. Okay, so there were ways you could do it before, but they've just now made it a little bit nicer. So I'm going to post a link to that. So that link for this, there's a few other bits in there as well, but it's one of the main one is Yammer, and then the Communities to be able to bring that in. Okay, folks, we're pretty much at the end of that update, so 20 odd minutes. So in reality, I thought that was going to be, I thought I was going to have to go for longer on this one because of catching up for the last 10 weeks or so. In the end, there was so much stuff that actually I just trimmed it right back because it would have gone on for too long. Most of the stuff I took was from the admin center, so I've got loads of sources that I'll get it from. I got to be honest, all that stuff, most of the wording, the screenshots, are courtesy of Microsoft, so I got to credit them because they're not my screenshots and a lot of them aren't my words. I've just curated that content and filtered it for Teams, a handful of Office 365 bits, and then filtered it by the sort of things that affect end users and trainers. So actually not as long as I expected it to be. Now, I've been doing Teams for a while, and there's certain things in relation to adoption and end users that keep coming up. So for me, just the things that echo over the last 2.5 years or so, people saying they don't understand how Teams fits in. Is it just another thing they have to use? They can never find anything. I can't keep track of my chats, and the notifications are overwhelming. Okay, so there's a conference coming up on the 6th to the 9th of July, and I'm running a session at 2 p.m. UK time on the 6th, and it's called Teams Adoption, Kill the Top 5 Objections Before They Even Happen. So these are the things that I'm going to be covering. In a second, I want you to press pause. I want you to get your phone out, open your QR code reader, and scan that code on screen, or go to that link on the screen, or if you're a podcast listener, just look at the notes and you'll get a link there. So I've got 45 minutes, and I'm just going to go through, I'm going to distill the stuff that I've just seen just kill Teams adoption before it even starts. And I'll go over that, and we're going to have a Q&A. So it's free. You got nothing to lose, guys. Why don't you just come and check in, come and have a listen, see what you get. I'll make sure I share my presentation with you all. It's going to be an amazing 3 days. So that's my part. Even if you're not interested in what I'm talking about, go and check out the link and see what else that comes with us offering. It's an amazing 3-day event. And unlike some other ones, we're not recording our sessions, we're doing them live. Okay, so you're not just listening to a load of recordings, we're doing, everyone is doing their session live. Okay, so honestly, going to be awesome. Guys, keep up to date with me on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube, LinkedIn. Just look for @SuperSimple365, or just do a search for SuperSimple365 in any of those environments, or just on Google, and then just and keep in touch. The next update will be a little bit sooner, and it's going to be a lot shorter. My best intentions, these are going to be weekly, but in reality, with work and the kids, it might be like 6 days, it might be 8 days, 10 days, but I'll always make sure that I put the date on so you know to what date I'm talking about. Okay, so if it's, rather than just call it the weekly update, I'll show you exactly how many days I'm covering. Okay, guys, I'm done. If you like the video, if you like the podcast, if you found this on Twitter, please like and share. It makes a massive difference to me and to be able to get this out. Please share and pass it on. But we're done. Thank you very much for your time, folks.